Strength does not begin in the clash of blades, nor in the heat of a duel. It begins long before any opponent stands before you. It begins in the silence of the morning when the world is still untouched by noise, when the mind is unburdened by the demands of the day, when your spirit stands alone, facing only itself. Many imagine strength to be something visible, muscle, posture, skill, but the true foundation of strength lies in what cannot be seen. It lies in how you choose to awaken. It lies in how you prepare before the world has a chance to shape your thoughts. Those who rise without purpose drift through the day like leaves carried by the wind, but the one who wakes with intention commands the wind itself. In the earliest moments of the day, when the air is cool and the sky remains dim, I learned that the body and the mind reveal their truest nature. The body seeks comfort, the mind seeks ease, and the spirit whispers excuses. This is the first battle, and it is a battle fought alone. If you cannot conquer yourself in these first moments, how will you conquer anything later? If you cannot rise with discipline, how will you stand firm when confronted with fear, pressure, or adversity? Strength is not forged in the battles you win in front of others. It is forged in the battles you win when no one is watching. When I woke before the light reached the horizon, I never asked myself whether I felt ready or motivated. Readiness is not a gift, it is a decision. Motivation is fleeting, discipline endures. The warrior does not rise early because he enjoys it, he rises because he must be ready. Every sunrise was an opportunity to sharpen my awareness, to test my resolve, to strengthen the bond between mind and body. In that silence, the world offered me space to cultivate clarity. I learned to breathe with intention, to feel the weight of my existence, to acknowledge every weakness trying to hold me back. And slowly, morning after morning, I realized that these small victories shaped the strength I carried into each duel. You may look at someone strong and believe their power comes from their training, their victories, or their experiences. But strength begins before all of that. It begins with the discipline to start each day with purpose instead of drifting into it without direction. When you wake without intention, you surrender your day before it begins. But when you rise with discipline, you claim control. You choose how you will think, how you will move, how you will face challenges. The world respects the one who commands himself, not the one who follows his impulses. As the sun slowly rises, many remain asleep in their minds even after their bodies are awake. They move through their routines as if they are being carried by habit rather than conviction. They let the day decide their mood, their energy, their actions. But strength is not found in reacting, it is found in preparing. The morning is the crucible where you forge your readiness for the challenges you have not yet seen. When you wake early, you gain time others waste. You gain clarity others lack. You gain the stillness necessary to observe your own thoughts without distraction. In these quiet hours, I examined my fears, my doubts, my weaknesses. I did not hide from them, I confronted them. And in doing so, I stripped them of their power. A warrior who cannot face his inner shadows will crumble before the shadows cast by others. The morning gave me space to refine my spirit, to harden my resolve, to temper the emotions that could mislead me in battle. Without mastering the self, no amount of physical strength can guarantee victory. Strength begins with awareness. When you wake before the world stirs, your senses sharpen. You learn to feel the subtle shifts in your breath, the tension in your muscles, the flow of your thoughts. Every small detail becomes a lesson. The faint breeze teaches patience. The distant sounds teach attention, the stillness teaches presence, and presence is the root of strength. For strength is not simply the ability to strike or endure, but the ability to see clearly, to act without hesitation, to remain unshaken in moments when others lose themselves to fear. When you claim the morning as your own, you claim the path of mastery. You begin to recognize that strength is not something you chase, it is something you cultivate. It grows within you as you repeatedly choose discipline over comfort, purpose over distraction, effort over ease. These choices, made consistently, carve a deeper resilience in the mind than any physical challenge ever could. Strength is the natural consequence of alignment between intention and action. As the day unfolds, chaos will always find you. Challenges rise without warning, conflicts emerge unexpectedly, and the world demands more than you feel ready to give. But the one who has mastered the morning walks into the day with an unshakable core. He has already fought the first battle within himself. He has already proven his commitment. He has already aligned his mind. This inner strength becomes a shield, a force that prevents the world from shaking him. Those who rise without purpose crumble quickly under pressure, for they start the day from a place of weakness, not readiness. Every duel I fought was won or lost long before my opponent stood before me. Victory belonged not to the one with the strongest arm, but to the one whose spirit was already prepared. The morning shaped that spirit. It carved discipline into my bones, clarity into my mind, strength into my heart. When I awoke with purpose, the world could not sway me. No opponent could intimidate me. No difficulty could break me, for I had mastered the one opponent who truly mattered, myself. Strength is not loud, it is not boastful, it is not dependent on recognition or praise. True strength is quiet, steady, and relentless. It comes from choosing the harder path again and again without seeking reward. It comes from the discipline of rising early, training with intent, and embracing the silence where your thoughts have nowhere to hide. Strength grows in solitude and consistency, in the willingness to show up for yourself even when you feel nothing urging you to do so. The morning teaches humility. No matter how skilled you are, no matter how many victories you have claimed, the rising sun reminds you that you are still a student. There is always more to learn, more to refine, more to overcome. Strength is not a destination, it is a lifelong practice. And that practice begins the moment you awaken. Do not waste that moment. Do not give it away to laziness or hesitation. Rise with purpose, train with intention, live with clarity. Those who are strong understand that the world will not slow down for their convenience. The world will not give them time. Time must be taken, discipline must be chosen, readiness must be cultivated. When you master the morning, you master the day. And when you master the day, you master your path. Strength comes to those who understand that every moment is a chance to strengthen the spirit, not just the body. Do not underestimate what you could become if you simply committed yourself to these early moments. If you rose each day with purpose, cleared your mind, aligned your thoughts, and strengthened your will, do you know how unstoppable you would become? You would move through the world with a presence that commands respect. You would face challenges with calm certainty. You would make decisions with clarity others only pretend to have. You would discover that strength is not something you occasionally display, it is something you consistently embody. The path of the 1% is not defined by talent or luck, it is defined by discipline. It is defined by the willingness to do what most refuse to do. It is defined by the first choice of the day, to rise with intention or to drift with complacency. If you choose discipline, you build strength. If you choose intention, you build mastery. If you choose purpose, you build a life that cannot be easily shaken. Strength is not a question of how much you can lift or how fast you can strike. Strength is the alignment of mind, body, and spirit. It is the discipline to rise in silence and prepare when no one is watching. It is the unshakable readiness that carries you through each duel, each challenge, each moment where weakness tempts you. Strength is built in solitude and discipline, in the willingness to rise while others sleep, and sharpen your spirit before the day demands anything from you. So rise with purpose, rise with discipline, rise with clarity. Let the morning shape your strength before the world even awakens. For the one who masters the morning becomes the one who masters himself, and the one who masters himself becomes stronger than any opponent he will ever face. Strength is not something you stumble into. It is not something gifted by birth, by luck, or by the admiration of others. Strength is carved, slowly, deliberately, and often painfully, inside the mind long before it is ever seen in the body. Many men have trained their arms, sharpened their blades, hardened their muscles, yet they fall in a single strike because their mind was soft, confused, distracted, or consumed by the small anxieties that govern ordinary lives. I learned early that the opponent you face in the world is never as dangerous as the opponent you harbor within yourself. If that one is not defeated, no victory can truly be claimed. Be strong, you must learn to master the battlefield that exists in your thoughts. The first moment you open your eyes in the morning, the world attempts to enter you, worries, desires, doubts, the noise of yesterday. If you allow it, your mind becomes a battlefield you are already losing. But if you rise with intention, if you rise with awareness, you claim a power that few ever touch. Strength begins in the mind's ability to command itself. Before I ever touched a sword each day, I trained my thoughts into stillness. I observed my fears until they lost their shape. I looked at my ambitions until they stopped clouding my purpose. I shaped my inner world like a craftsman shapes steel, patiently, carefully, without rushing the process. Distractions are the rust that weakens your blade. Anger, impatience, pride, comparison, these are invisible opponents. They strike without warning, they make a man react rather than respond. A mind without discipline loses itself before the first movement of a duel. When you master your mind, you no longer swing your sword with emotion, you swing with clarity. You no longer chase victory, you create the conditions in which victory becomes inevitable. When your inner world is calm, the outer world cannot provoke you. When your thoughts obey you, no outward force can shake you. Strength is also the courage to see reality without distortion. Many avoid the truth because it is uncomfortable. They hide from their weaknesses, and so those weaknesses grow. I observed everything, even my flaws, with the eyes of a strategist. I did not fear my shortcomings, I studied them. I learned their patterns. I eliminated them step by step. A man who refuses to examine his own heart will always be at the mercy of it. But a man who looks inward with honesty begins to rise beyond his limitations. If you desire to become strong, begin with the space no one else sees. Command your mind before you command anything else. Silence your doubts before they shout inside you. Face yourself before you face the world. The body can be broken, but a mastered mind does not fold. True strength begins there, in the place where no opponent can reach and no sword can cut.